Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Alex, and if you read the title, yes, this video is all about my experiment that I've been running for the past week using the iPad Pro as my everyday computing machine for the past week, and I've learned a lot. It's been a really interesting adventure using the iPad Pro, but the things I will tell you is it completely replaced, if I can grab it, the MacBook Air 2013 that I've been using as my daily laptop for the past 5 years. It's a good laptop, it served me well, but at the end of the day, it's gotten kind of old. And using the iPad Pro has been very interesting indeed. But the one thing I am gonna tell you guys is I wanted to add a twist to it. And that twist being adding a kind of desktop-like experience to the iPad Pro and trying to make it even replace the desktop in the background. So let's start. So before I started the whole iPad Pro every day for the week experiment, I knew I needed to kit it out with some accessories that would kind of put the entire experience together. So I started off with that beloved Apple Pencil and some other peripherals. I was interested in seeing how iPadOS was going to handle all of the accessories and how smooth the workflow would be. My personal iPad Pro is a 12.9 inch because I'm a big screen type of guy with 256 gigs of storage, a D-brand dragon skin for that extra grip and mythical look, and I'm using a cellular model for on-the-go work and, of course, using iPadOS, but I'm sure you already knew that. Now, one thing I did learn right off the bat, taking it on the go, was it's not the most rugged piece of tech out there, so you definitely want to have some sort of skin, some sort of case, or just a screen protector on it, because this thing's going to get scuffed, dented, and there's a whole bending controversy, but I'm also sure you guys know about that one. So anytime I took it out, I usually had it with my Bridge keyboard, which is an aluminum Bluetooth keyboard that kind of snaps onto the device and gives it more rigidity. So I was good to go on that. I wasn't experiencing any scratches, bending, or scuffs. So anytime I did take it on the go, it wasn't in its naked state. It did have the Bluetooth keyboard, the Apple Pencil, and a screen protector on. By the way, before going into this, I knew that I didn't have the most intensive workflow, especially taking it on the go, meaning I just needed the iPad Pro for writing documents, taking notes, listening to music, using social media, and just basically normal things, not anything super intensive like video editing. I would do all of that normally on the PC in the back. So I did cheat, use the PC today on the day I edit this video, but other than that, it's been completely off the whole week. I'd normally complete all those tasks on a laptop or a desktop, but this week, all iPad Pro, all of it done on the tablet and using the accessories that come with it. So that being said, I wasn't running anything insane. Like a lot of people can do the Raspberry Pi experiment where they actually code on it using a program called Coder, or they run the actual UI on the iPad and run the actual terminal on the Raspberry Pi. So nothing like that, much more simplified. I did take the iPad Pro on the go, but for the most part, that was pretty simplified. I did try to make a computer alternative setup using some of the accessories, so let's jump into that setup. First thing I got for it was a Keychron K2, so a fully mechanical wireless keyboard that works surprisingly good on the iPad Pro. It can connect to 3 different devices at once, and you can get a variety of options like RGB, red, brown, or blue switches, so you have a lot of options to choose from. I chose the aluminum frame option that's really sturdy, especially if you want to pop it in a backpack, and it's also got a 4,000 milliamp hour battery that supports around 72 hours of typing for a full charge. I've been able to use it a full week on one charge, no issues. I do already have the Bridge wireless keyboard that attaches to the iPad, but I basically used that on the go, and when I got home, I just flipped the keyboard and popped the Keychron on the table and just started typing on it. So pretty flawless Bluetooth experience. The RGB backlight is also awesome for use in the dark, and if you're not into the whole Froopy Land color theme, you can choose a standard classy white backlight, and the keyboard makes it really easy. Everything is controlled through physical buttons on the keyboard, so no external apps or dials you need to mess with. Doing work with the Keychron connected to the iPad is really smooth, and removing that whole laptop keyboard feel from the iPad Pro and introducing tactile mechanical switches made writing on Google Docs and responding to comments a really fulfilling experience in terms of the actual typing. And pairing this keyboard with the Logitech MX Master 3, I felt like this was one of the closest experiences that I could get to provide a legitimate alternative to my desktop. But then again, iPadOS's limitations did show up to the party, and you can tell that mouse support is not a strong point. Don't get me wrong, the fact that we can even use a mouse is a huge step in the right direction that Apple has made. It just needs to be refined. Like, seriously, why is this in the accessibility options? The mouse support is practically piggybacking off assistive touch, and the cursor seems to hinder the ProMotion display. Scrolling around the home screen doesn't feel to be running at that native 120 Hz that the ProMotion display offers, and especially when you're used to accessories like the Apple Pencil that you can scrub right through the display flawlessly and get that buttery feel, you definitely feel that something's off when you're using the mouse on the display. But enough nitpicking aside, it does work. There's a customizable cursor that can do the job of a stylus or touch controls, and being able to highlight words while typing with the mouse, or just being able to use the iPad Pro without ever having to actually touch the display has been actually pretty useful. The ergonomics with mouse controls have improved, and not having to fidget with a touch keyboard or accidentally highlight the wrong word is great. And I found myself using the iPad Pro propped up with the bridge hinge that allows for full adjustability. The MX Master 3 also shares the ability to connect to up to 3 devices at once through Bluetooth. Pairing all the accessories was always easy, and I never had any connectivity issues. My hand also fits really well in the MX Master, so incredible ergonomics, and using the cursor for browsing and multitasking worked like a breeze. Using a mouse on the iPad Pro is kind of strange, and I mean, at the end of the day, you're basically mimicking touch controls with a cursor. There's no actual mouse support on the iPad Pro, so it does take some getting used to, but it's nothing like a real desktop experience that has actual compatibility. But at the end of the day, you can get used to it, and it's not horrible. This whole iPad Pro desktop alternative setup for the past week has been somewhat of a breath of fresh air. I found myself not having the urge to pick up a laptop for mobile work and just pop the iPad off the table whenever I needed to bring it on the go. But let's talk about the mobile experience as well. When I went on the go with it, threw it in the bag, I didn't have the Keychron K2, and I didn't bring the MX Master. You could, but in my case, I thought it was easier to just have a more compact package with the Bridge keyboard and the Apple Pencil. Both actually attach to the iPad Pro, so I didn't have to carry any extra cases or worry about accessories rattling around. And the whole setup is actually lighter than a lot of laptops. Since the Apple Pencil magnetically charges, I can just use it on the go and pop it right back on the side where it'll begin charging. The keyboard also really came in handy when I needed to type on the go, because typing on the on-screen keyboard while laying flat was not my favorite position to work in, and the hefty hinge holds the tablet in any position I needed and really reduces any typing or touch wobble you can get while using it. I've had some other videos where in the comments people have literally said that their Bridge keyboards have had keys fall off, so I've had a year of use with this keyboard and I've had no issues at all. But that's just my personal experience. I definitely make sure you get a warranty if you're gonna go for a Bridge keyboard. But other than the Bridge keyboard, the only touchscreen keyboard I found myself using was the little pinch gesture iPadOS keyboard that's about smartphone size and really quick and easy for quick typing bursts. Another thing on the go I would occasionally use the iPad Pro for was mobile gaming. Yes, it's not real gaming, you're playing on the App Store, but it does have enough graphical power for gaming on the go, and playing 120 Hz mobile gaming on the go is pretty ridiculous. Thankfully backed up by that all-day battery life, so I had no problem going through a full day on one charge, and I didn't have to carry any external battery banks, dongles, or SD cards. My everyday carry was pretty simple and minimalistic, and every time I did need to charge before the go, I did use this little Anker power port charger that was really great and charged it up really quick. I'll have all the accessories I used in the mobile iPad Pro setup and the actual desktop iPad Pro setup linked in the description down below if you're interested and want to check it out. When it came to files management, I did do everything through Google Drive and the native Files app, but I will tell you one thing, it's definitely not a real file management app like you get on a desktop. Again, I'm comparing it, but these are just things that I noticed while using it. Safari does have a download manager, so you can kind of natively work with the files through Safari, the Files app, and Google Drive, and that's what I found myself doing for the most part. I'd edit PDFs, work on photos, and that's where the Apple Pencil really came in handy. The precise tip made photo editing in Lightroom really easy compared to the much less accurate finger method, and being able to grab screenshots and edit them right off the display instantly with the Apple Pencil gesture was another great feature that I did use on the go. And I can tell you one thing, I had never used an Apple Pencil until this week, so the whole experience was pretty awesome, let me tell you. Really expensive though. I think this is around $130, and it's kind of ridiculous. It does have no interchangeable tips, so maybe we'll get something in the future that'll be better. I did see some rumors yesterday about another Apple Pencil patent that will actually have haptic feedback, so let's keep our eyes open for March. Maybe we'll see something there or something in the future. As for now, let's talk about our current iPad Pro. The support for RAW images and file management really justified the device as a mobile file and image editor. And for all the people that use the Wacom tablets, all the artists that use the Wacom tablets, you may have an alternative here with the iPad Pro. I've seen a lot of people that are able to just edit photos and actually draw on here. So I'm not an artist by no means, but if you are an artist, I'd definitely check out the iPad Pro and give it a shot. If you walk into a store, grab an Apple Pencil, see if you can draw on the screen, see if you like the whole experience. And again, thanking iPadOS for bringing a lot of these features to the table. It's really come a far way since launch. At launch, really and honestly, it was just a really overpowered iPad, but now with iPadOS, it's gotten a lot better. It's gotten seriously better, and after a week using it as my kind of everyday computer, I can tell you that this thing's legit, for sure. Usually software updates in the tech world bring minor improvements and don't really do much for the actual device in terms of a complete overhaul, but with the iPad Pro, seriously, iPadOS was a complete overhaul that turned it into a straight up computer alternative. So in recap, the whole iPad Pro as my everyday machine for the past week has been really interesting. I found a lot of pros and cons while using it. The LTE option is a really valuable feature. The all-day battery life, the compact form factor, the amazing display, the full desktop class browsing, and with the Apple Pencil, artists now have a Wacom tablet alternative. The input delay is seriously impressive. The whole experience has made me realize that the iPad Pro is one of the best devices to come from Apple in a long time. Sure, there's room for improvement with iPadOS, but overall this thing rocks. Seriously, it's awesome. And like I've said before, there's things that I can't do with it, like edit videos, but at the end of the day, there are people that can. Being able to use iMovie, LumaFusion, Lightroom really allows creators to have a full arsenal of content creation apps. Using this as my everyday computer for the past week has been really fun, but that doesn't mean that I'm done with Mac or PC. But I can tell you one thing, I am definitely excited for the future with the iPad Pro. And as for a new iPad Pro this year, maybe next month we'll see something interesting stuff. So thanks for watching. If you liked the video, drop a like and comment and get subbed if you haven't. It's been Alex, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Also, follow me on Twitter if you haven't, and Instagram coming soon.